If you're playing a game and you see a drawer, what would your first instinct be? If your answer was to click or tap it, well, unfortunately, that's how most games let you interact with objects. But naturally, you would pull on it. In this video, I'm going to talk about how I'm making the interaction system in my game feel realistic and satisfying. I'm making a cozy game where you brew potions to grow magical plants. The process of making these potions is backed with satisfying mechanics, and the plants are procedurally generated, so the only limit is your imagination. I wanted to take a little break from plants and focus on interactive mechanics for a while. I'm going to talk about 3 mechanical interactions I've implemented in the game so far: buttons, rotators, and drawers. These interactions don't rely on Unreal Engine's physics system, making them more efficient and stable. Forget about physics constraints and physics handles. I'll start with buttons. Imagine seeing a button and not being able to press it. In my game, not only are all buttons interactive, but they also respond naturally to how you interact with them. For example, if you press and hold, the button stays pressed until you release it. You can even press it again before it fully pops back out. No pre-made animations here. Let me play this back in slow motion. See? So far, I've implemented 2 types of buttons. Momentary buttons. These stay on as long as you're holding them down, and turn off when you release them, like doorbells. I can use these, for example, in a machine that grinds ingredients into powder. Toggle buttons. You press once to toggle it on, press it again to toggle it off, and the button pops back out. Rotators. A rotator can be any mechanism with radial movement, like a crank, a knob, or even a ship's wheel. My rotator can have a rotational limit, which is useful for things like valve levers. I also added snapping to create stuff like adjustment knobs, and the option to reset after releasing. I can use this to mimic gravity, for example. Finally, the star of today's video, the drawer mechanic. Drawers were something I wanted to add since I first came up with the idea for the game. Most games don't give drawers much attention, limiting interaction to a simple click to open, click to close system. I wanted to create drawers that feel natural to interact with, including subtle imperfections that make them even more satisfying to use. I was aiming for an old drawer feel, one that doesn't slide out perfectly and stay in place. I wanted it so that when you slide it out far enough and let go, it hangs a little, and as you pull on it, it wobbles slightly. And here it is. Here it is. How does it work? To make a drawer hang, I first needed to understand the math and physics behind it. To put it simply, the bigger the vertical gap between the drawer and the slot, the larger the hanging angle will be. If the drawer fits perfectly into the slot with no gap, it can't hang at all. The same principle applies to wobbliness. The greater the horizontal gap between the drawer and the slot, the more wobbly it will be. Why add these mechanics? The main reason behind adding these mechanics was 1. To make the machines and tools the player uses to prepare ingredients more engaging and fun to use. 2. To make as many elements in the environment interactive as possible. I'm planning to add more mechanics, like switches and cabinet doors. I also wanted to add utensil-specific mechanics, such as a mortar and pestle. Now it's your turn. What machines, tools, or mechanics would you like to see in the game? Drop a comment and let me know your thoughts. For more updates, check out my social media accounts, links in the description. Until next time, goodbye.